Alright, how's it going, everyone? Black Mom 44, and I'm coming back at you with some more of Tyranny. So, last time we ended speaking with Fatebinder Callio, so let's get into it. Fatebinder Callio, I keep hearing about this little spire you've been calling your own. Now that you've slaughtered those who would take your lands, I think your claim is as official as it gets. So, let me guess, you're here to investigate what just happened? Naturally. Tuna expects me to give full report, but today I come bearing an important message. Not an edict, but commandments from the mouth of the Overlord all the same. No one's entirely sure what to make of you these days, Linux. They all say you spoke an edict of fire. Not a proclamation of an edict of Kairos, but your own edict of fire. Your own mystic conflagration. You're no mere Fatebinder, of that we can be certain. You proclaimed and broken the Overlord's edicts perhaps one too many times. I don't know what to make of you, Fatebinder. Proclaiming breaking the Overlord's magic, claiming these awful towers. Should come as no surprise that an edict is within your grasp, but I still find room for surprise. You're powerful in ways that gang bosses and mages aren't. You commanded this place to do your bidding and unleash something incredible on the world. That isn't the work of a Fatebinder. If anything, it's the work of an Archon. Beast Woman will follow Alpha from here to ends of Tyr's lands and farther still. We'll paw proud deep into cold north, hunting armies of Kairos at Alpha's side. Together, Shadow Hunter and Alpha will slaughter whole of Prima's tribe. I don't have any idea how you're able to do this, but it isn't power that any scholar can wield. This is something else. You're not some ambitious hedge mage who learned it out of a book. You're more like an Archon, where it just comes naturally. I always knew you'd be a delightful bit of trouble, but I didn't think you had touch of the Overlord's power in you. Why didn't you tell me? You known me a long time. My greatness shouldn't be a surprise. For a moment, I was envious of this power of yours. Then I realized I'm not the one with threat to the Overlord painted on my forehead. I come bearing orders directly from the Overlord. Kairos has decreed two things. First, the Overlord has demanded that one and only one Archon is fit to rule the Tiers. To that end, the Archons are to settle through death or dominance who is the one Archon fit to inherit the Tiers. I was just given permission to kill or subjugate the Archons? Oh, it gets better than that. Kairos has decreed you are the newest Archon. So the other Archons now have orders to control or destroy you and the other way around. See? This is why I try to avoid getting Kairos' attention. And to be clear, this is a command from Kairos, but not an edict? Correct. There's no edict backing this order. Such encouragement hardly seems necessary when the task is its own reward. The Overlord has merely rescinded Kairos' peace. The Archons may kill and maim each other without breaking any laws. Kairos knows, rightly so, that enmities, new and old, will drive the Archons to mutual destruction. The Overlord need only remove the pretense of peace and watch the ensuing violence. Would you have preferred another do-or-die edict? What of the court? Have you heard what Tunin and Bled and Mark think of this? As per usual, Tunin has the emotional range of pumice, but Bled and Mark seems almost giddy. I think the old Shadow has already put names on his daggers. I was wondering if Bled and Mark would hear this order and promptly stab Tunin, but no, it would seem the Archon of Shadows happy to serve Tunin. Makes sense. I've never known the old Shadow to crave that kind of power. You have to deal with them too, and I fear greatly for how that will turn out. I imagine Tunin is too loyal to bow to you, and Bled and Mark too proud to accept you as his better. There is no way this ends well for some of us. I've heard enough, and I know what comes next. The other Archons will bend to my will or die. First up is the sign you won't bow to one of the other Archons. I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming struggle. Know that when you come for Bled, Mark, and Tunin, I and the other Fatebinders won't interfere. A question me and the other binders have been asking, can you do this again? None of all believes in you. Another, who shall remain nameless, takes a more cynical stance that the Overlord has a hand so far up your ass she could puppet your mouth, and you couldn't cast a second edict if you tried. Me, I think you have it in you. Or at least I like the idea of proclaiming an edict of yours someday. Think Graven Ash and his legion might enjoy an edict on his fortress of Iron Hearth in the Blade Grave. Yep. Bind words to earth and sky-like baited snare for disfavor. Let ironclads be caught, screaming and snap-biting jaws of edict. Oh, the tears are about to get a lot more interesting with that attitude. I can taste their lamentations already. When you rule Terratis, look me up. If you're successful, I know I'll be in need of a new Archon to serve. I know I'm mostly sober, but just so we're clear, you did just issue an edict, right? First you cast an edict, then this full-on war of Archons. This whole chapter of the Chronicle it's reading like fiction. So Kairos has ordered all the Archons to fight it out until only the strongest remain. I think we can now safely say that the Scarlet Chorus philosophy has been vindicated. Alpha-birthed own words of power like humans. Prima calls Kairos. Is better mystic than Broodmother to kills in shadow than Stonestalker's 100 blood, and Beastwoman Archon slaughtered by Mark of Shadows. Kills in Shadow knew Alpha was most powerful human in whole of Tears lands. Nose was not wrong. One last thing. All this talk of you being the second coming of the Overlord, and I almost forgot my duties. This is a court summons from Blood and Mark, Tunan's assassin. I suggest you read it carefully as part of your preparations. Your survival may depend on it. Good luck, Archon. And so begins Act 3. Archon Fatebinder! Whatever you call yourself, our agents have infiltrated the outskirts of Iron Hearth. Ash and his troops are exposed as a raw nerve. Before you make your final assault, the voices of Narat wants to discuss that stunt you pulled, yes? People are beginning to talk, and the Archon doesn't want there to be any misunderstandings. You're to meet the Archon at Cacophony before we hurl our forces at Iron Hearth. I know your warlike ways compel you to do otherwise, but we really must insist. Very well, tell the voices I'll meet him at Cacophony. Delightful Archon, he knows already. I'll keep tempers as a controlled burn here at Vendrian's Well. Please send the Archon my regards. And Fatebinder, remember who you're going to meet. The Archon of Secrets loves nothing more than a challenge, but he also loves to win. So we got a missive. Blood and Mark, kid, I take it you're aware of the Overlord's latest decree. If not, let me give it to you straight. Now is a bad time to be an Archon in the Tears. Since most likely I'll be the one to cut you down, I'd first explain it's not my choice. But if it was, I would still choose to kill you. See you soon. Something cordial. Mean cordial. He doesn't like cordial. We can arrange a meeting. Alright, so Blood and Mark, if I'm to die by your hand, I would prefer it to be in battle, face to face, or would that be face to shadow? Regardless, at the risk of depriving you the thrill of a good ambush, I would ask that we meet in person as peers, drawing blades openly. If that is what is to come, on the reverse of this parchment, I've mapped for you a location in the wilderness. Let us meet and settle things there. I'll provide you 2 days to scout the location in advance should you require. Hope to see you there. Linux. Send it. 1 hour response time. So now we have a lot of missions. So foes befriended. Travel to Tunan's court in the Bastard City. Strike at the Hearth. Alright, so let's talk with all these guys. So I can scarcely believe it. You proclaimed an edict. You willed the power of the Overlord. For a moment, perhaps, but it was enough to turn the tide of battle in our favor. That simply doesn't happen. The Overlord's magic is as noble as anything on Terratus, as mysterious and, well, I was about to say as unapproachable as the spires, but you have clearly dispelled that notion. What do you suggest I do next? Hold fast to your loyalties in the Overlord's hierarchy. There's always the chance that Kairos will leave you alone if your fealty is true, but I offer no guarantees. That is what I would do anyway. You must follow your own path. Though this can only mean trouble for us. Kairos doesn't tolerate competition. No, indeed. I wouldn't want to stand in your place when the day of reckoning comes. Standing next to you might prove just as dangerous. So I have questions for you.
What can I do for you?
We'll talk later. Talk to Verse. Are you trying to piss everyone off, or do you just do this for fun? I'm not judging either way, I'm just curious. Casting an edict on Vendrian's Well is a good way to shine a beacon on yourself, or paint a target. I saved your skin, didn't I? Sure did, for now. Like I said, I'm not trying to prod you or suggest you made the wrong call. Someone who likes to stay discreet until she has the opening to strike a killing blow. I find your little public gesture of dominance, well, quaint, charming, in a dumb way. And Lantry.
Not to steal your glorious day in the sun, but I must say, now all my notes on you are suddenly worth 10 times their weight in iron. My journals will melt the linens off the ladies, I tell you. What's that you say? Buxom, nubile lasses with an interest in old men who know history. You need a definitive tractatus on the trials and tribulations of the Archon of the Tears? Ha! Well, you're in luck. I think one can safely conclude that you have the Overlord's attention, and that of the Tears. Soon, all of Tyranny. You realize, I trust, I hope, that nobody other than Kairos has ever cast an edict until you.
I haven't known when Kairos first cast an edict.
Good question. In parts north, it's commonly held that Kairos' Edict of Dust was the first, but it was cast in the year 11. It was just the first edict to ripple across the whole of Tyranny. If you lived somewhere that used to have antelope, you probably think that's the first edict of the Overlord. But here, the answer is given to us by the Overlord's own sense of posterity. Year 0 of Kairos' calendar is said to correspond to the day Kairos went from warlord to wearer of many crowns. A victory won when the first Edict of Storms shocked both the Cloud Barons and the realm of Medrev to capitulate. At the same time, if you really were a meaningful threat, you'd have already been the victim of an edict, or bled in Mark's daggers. So this has me rather curious. Just what does the Overlord wish to do with you?
Are you sure history hasn't just edited or forgotten those who could rival the Overlord?
Well, I have a hard time believing that someone would cast an edict and not have it noticed.
Yeah, but maybe a rival casts an edict, Kairos kills the rival, takes credit for the events.
Well, as of now, I've seen with my own eyes that the Overlord is not unique in this regard. And I suppose you're all the evidence I need to throw suspicion on the record. Now, if you are right, that implies the Overlord has no qualms silencing and murdering those who pose a threat. In your case, at least my written record of you might survive. See? I'm being optimistic.
Antelope. Is that an animal?
Yes. Or it was, at least, until they were all wiped out by the Edict of Dust. Or that's as best we've pieced it together from the records. From what we've gathered from their skeletons, they were some sort of mute beast man that ran on 4 legs.
Antelope are not like beast women. Antelope have hooves for fleeing. Beast women have claws for killing. Antelope don't eat meat, are sport easily, are large but helpless, lumber but lack reason, are prey. Silverback tribe hunted antelope extinct. Old Ink Mystic tells many strange, stupid tales. Thinks to know everything.
I suppose I'm more of an expert in living things, like birds, and can't quite confirm or deny what you're saying, but just forget I said anything.
Alright, so we now have to find out where we should go. So definitely Cacophony, right? Voices of Narod has said that he would like to meet. Iron Hearth will take a day. It'll take an hour. Take an hour for our missive to come back from Glenmark. So let's go to Cacophony first. Otherwise, you miss out from Glenmark. Catch a hint of movement in the distance, little more than a shiver of shadow among the remnants of a village that clings to the edge of a pillar of stone. Remain far from both Halfgate and Cacophony, so it seems unlikely that settlers or soldiers lurk among the ruins. Perhaps scavengers, raiders, or rogue passive beastmen have made the crumbling buildings their home. Avoid the village. I don't care. Let's go. Like, it would have been cool if it was earlier. Not gonna lie. So we go to not Halfgate. We're going to Cacophony. All right. So let me see here. All right. Okay, sorry about that. Start dinner. Alright, cool. Glenmark. I'll ask only once. So, kid, Lan said before, I'll say it now, I'm going to enjoy killing you. While I'd love to carve your heart out and feed it to the darkness and remote spot in a shaded weald, unlike you, I'm not dumb enough to act on a whim. Can't wait for the adjudicator's execution order. I'll be anticipating your arrival at court. Don't snuff the lights.
Let's be off.
Well, in that case, there's no real point to go here. Let's just go to the Bastard City, right? Take us 3 days to get there. Especially now that we can pretty much fast travel. But yeah, you can sort of see there's old walls here, and they go down here and stop, and they keep going, and they sort of go here. It's interesting. I also mentioned antelopes. I thought I heard at some point that this game might have been like intended to be sort of set in the future or something. I'm not sure. I don't 100% know. I mean, you know, it's a cool thought, right? Alright, so we have 4 favor with tuning. So we will go up. We will seek our judgment. So no more proceedings will be held for nobles today. This court is closed. There's an outrage. We demand to be heard. Alright, so we finally get more voice acting. I remember this. There's voice acting, so.
Fatebinder, thank you for answering my summons. This could very well be the defining hour of the conquest.
Pleasure is mine, Your Honor.
Your manners do you well. All the same, we are here for justice, not pleasantries. I first want to make it clear why we've assembled today. After the collapse of Vendrian's Well and the start of the Civil War, it became clear to me that there must have been some great fault on the part of the Archons. We come together to root out the source of our troubles, and determine which of the Archons has sown more chaos during the war.
I think the answer to that question is obvious, Adjudicator. Giving voice to it here is but a formality to confirm what we already know.
Much has happened since I dispatched you on that mission. With Kairos' mandate that only one Archon may rule the tiers, the verdict is now more important than ever. We cannot allow this conquest to descend into total anarchy. You expressed your support for the Scarlet Chorus at the start of the Civil War, and it would seem your loyalties are consistent with those claims. Does that sound accurate?
Alright. Scarlet Chorus made for a strange ally, but I've learned much from them.
So you voice no claim of devotion, only their useful function. This is interesting to note. In your professional and objective opinion, which of the two Archons is guilty of sowing the most chaos in the tiers?
So the most chaos... Let's go Graven Ash, right?
I can't be hearing this. If Ash fell by your word, I don't think I could bear it.
And so the charges are declared. I'm confident you've come with prepared arguments and research, as is expected of your station.
I won't stand here and patiently sit through baseless accusation.
In accordance to Kairos' legal custom, you will state the crimes against the Archon and offer up your evidence. The court will weigh your claims on their merits. I would encourage you to make as many claims as possible. Bringing charges against an Archon is no small matter. They are not accountable to Kairos' laws with the same rigidity as an average citizen, so it may be more difficult to justify their guilt.
Understood. I won't withhold any legitimate claims from the court.
Provided that you have the evidence to back them, of course. To make a claim lacking evidence will only harm your case in the court's eyes. Is this understood?
Yes, I'll back up my accusations with hard facts. You no doubt recall the categories of infraction to which Archons may be held liable. They are sedition, incompetence, war crimes, and the hoarding of forbidden knowledge. It is not every day that we are called upon to determine guilt on such a scale. Tread lightly.
Then we are ready to begin. State your claims, Fatebinder. You may proceed at your own pace.
I accuse the Archon of sedition most foul. Sedition, you say, treachery, rebellion, and subordination. This is a serious claim indeed. Archon Graven Ash may have an inconsistent history, his loyal ties to Kairos are well established. Present your case, Fatebinder. So, Graven Ash's daughter colluded with the Unbroken, producing an heir. Court doesn't make a habit of letting the sins of the child reflect on the father, but I can see a case being made that puts the great general's leadership into question. If he held the voices of Narat to the same standard, we would be put on trial for each of the hundreds of deserters who fled his camp and returned to their countrymen. This is a sham, Your Honor. Amelia was a soldier under his keeping and shared his confidence more than most of the Legion. Her defection is all the more troubling. I'm going to allow it. Do you have any further evidence supporting your claim of sedition? I make no more claims of sedition. Then let's move on. So the Archon is guilty of incompetence, Your Honor. Incompetence on this scale is no laughing matter. Lives and opportunities alike may be lost if a military commander performs beneath their expected rank. It's shocking to imagine Graven Ash failing at the task before him. Go on, Fatebinder. The court's attention is yours. Now, during the stalwart campaign, the disfavored marched on Sentinel stand even though an edict was imminent. You would hold this against us. It wasn't our most warlike pursuit, but it was a noble one. I'm familiar with the Legion's march. It was a determined mission to rescue a lost unit of soldiers, among them the Archon's daughter. The reports that reached my ears spoke of great bravery, and yet many lives were lost.
Have you anything to say in this matter, Son of the North?
I grant that it was a desperate move, impulsive even, and we suffered the consequences of that march, some of us more than others. But I would do it again for the Archon's sake. He sacrificed much on our behalf and deserves more than we could ever give. Thank you for your testimony. Your courage and convictions do you credit. They don't redeem the Archon in my eyes. An imprisoned Legion conflict of interests are no justification to send valuable resources into certain doom. Resources, I never thought of us that way. Graven Ash always called us family. Any other claims? I'm finished. The Archon has perpetrated vile acts during this campaign. I accuse him of war crimes. I see. In a time of war, much is done for the sake of one's loyalties. But there are those who have justified monstrosities in the name of conquest. The court always desires its Archons to fall within Kairos' laws. I would be surprised if Graven Ash perpetrated misdeeds on this scale. Tell me of these war crimes. So, the disfavor encroach on a Scarlet Chorus operation in the Stone Sea. If the Legion put their Civil War interests ahead of the conquest of the Tiers, that shows great contempt for our work in the South. It's an insult to Kairos herself. Are we not at war here? The Chorus is a mob of interfering little spies. Do any other war crimes come to mind? During the Vellum Citadel assault, his favorite soldiers killed sages who were recruited to the Scarlet Chorus. You could have stopped right there. Killed sages. I fail to see the dilemma here. A brutal sentence, but were the sages not preparing to dispense forbidden knowledge? I understood that the Archon of Song had enthralled them and loosened their tongues. As you say, Siren was involved. The sages didn't willingly break Kairos' laws. A fair point. Since they had surrendered to Kairos' forces, they should have been treated as prisoners or recruits rather than hostiles. Any other war crimes? I found a missive in the Burning Library that implicates Ash in war crimes from before the Civil War. The Archons' animosity toward each other is well documented, but we never knew for certain that either of them had acted on their bitterness. We will add this to the record. If written opinion is a matter of guilt, then I plan on bringing similar charges to every literate fool I can fit in this courtroom. So the Earthshakers want to use Cairn to blight the Stone Sea and harvest starved Scarlet Chorus soldiers. Are you not at war with this rabble, Adjudicator? Discuss the legalities of it all you want. The numbers of these red-clad savages need to be thinned out to bring order to the Tiers. Each of us has pledged our loyalty to Kairos and the Archon of Secrets. We expect the deserving protection of Kairos' peace. This one makes a fair point, Adjudicator. The laws of quota and sharing dictate that servants of Kairos will be fed in times of need. Disfavored have clearly overstepped. Agreed. The transgression here is obvious. Exhausted evidence of war crimes. So the Archon is guilty of hoarding forbidden knowledge. Difficult truth to bring to light. The fact remains that Kairos is a keeper of wisdom across Terratus. Their avenues of study denied us under her immutable law. The Archon of War is educating himself in forbidden matters, then it is worth deeper scrutiny. Make your case. So I found a forge-bound corpse in the old walls. He was seeking a path to Twin Rivers for the disfavored. And you can't imagine for a moment that the chorus would have planted a corpse there for you to discover. I hate to say this, but for once you aren't giving the voice of Narat his deserving credit as a liar and a schemer. Clear the rest out of your brain, Ironclad. Most of us can't write our own names, much less forge a diary. Maybe you idiots need to stop the rampant speculation and allow our esteemed adjudicator to weigh the evidence as he sees fit, A trespasser in the old walls and the death of a forge-bound. These crimes will haunt the disfavored twofold. Your powers of observation do you credit. I found a dead civilian in the old walls of the Blade Grave. The disfavored sent him there looking for an artifact. Come now, we don't need to punish the Archon of War over the wrongdoing of a southerner, and a traitorous one at that. This displeases me greatly. If the Legion thought they could trespass on the old walls by enlisting another to the task, then they were mistaken. The error in judgment could cost him the Archon's life. I've submitted enough evidence for this charge. I've made my case to the best of my abilities.
Very well. I have weighed your evidence against the charges. The Court of Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and Counsel to Kairos the Overlord finds Graven Ash guilty of sowing chaos, holding his interests above those of the Overlord, and causing mayhem in a time of war. The sentence is death.
No, please, Adjudicator. Ash is blameless. This upstart servant of yours has conjured evidence out of thin air. I tire of this squawking Ironclad. Can someone put her in chains, or must we resort to a more immediate solution? So in accordance to Kairos' laws, the court headsman will deliver the verdict and its consequence to our former colleague. I summon Blood and Mark to appear. So shadows blare, and or shadows flare, and then in the light there's Blood and Mark. And he stands before you, and he has his daggers, and with his white teeth in his mouth, he laughs. Kid, Adjudicator, And who will this blade be cutting today? The usual or someone new? You're to execute the Archon of Wargrave and Ash. Been a while since I snuffed an Archon. Could be a tall order, might take me longer than last time. Unless maybe the kid wants to take a stab at it. I'll leave it to your expertise. You are the court's blade, after all. He shrugs in his offhanded way. Go about your assignment, headsman. Trouble the court no longer with your displays or your bravado. Be quick to return with the guilty party. We will abide here until your return. As you command, adjudicator, so must I enact. I really like this. Your Honor? Your association with the traitor Graven Ash has doomed you in the court's eyes. Just as you share the Archon's protection, you will share in his guilt. What of her end, student? For your service, I offer you the freedom to determine the commander's fate. She will forfeit her rank and serve the court. A grievous indignity. Death, let her join the Archon in his funeral pyre. So it is judged. None of all, deliver the sentence elsewhere. No need to dirty the floor with this one's passing, especially while we have matters yet to resolve. Patient student, Blood and Mark approaches Anon. Is anonymous here? So, Blood and Mark approaches Anon. The Archon of Shadows is as swift as he is deadly. Alright. General! Don't look, Barrack, it'll be over soon. No, he fucking kills him. I'll let you guys... You can pause right here and read it if you want. It's a lot, so... The North will remember this indignity, you ungrateful farce. My legion will come for you, and there will be no shadow dark enough for you to hide from their justice. Stop your blustering. Despite the incessant and stupidly valiant attempts of your soldiers to draw arms against me, didn't kill any of them, did I? Well, aside from the accidental few. See such an Archon brought to his knees is a pitiful sight indeed. You know my agony soon enough, peon of injustice. Lest you think yourself wise with this pitiful droplet of command you wield, it is nothing to my centuries spent guiding the Northern Legion. You're too enraptured with your own power to recognize why Kairos has turned us against each other. Alright, and then you can go ahead, pause here as well to read this. He basically just fucking kills him.
With that unpleasant business out of the way, we change course to another serious matter. One that puts into question your conduct as a member of Kairos' loyal followers.
You made quite a name for yourself, Fatebinder. Stories of your deeds have spread throughout the tiers, and all of them have reached this court. Some actions have consequences. We will see what your actions have wrought.
The court has its own charges to present, and invites you to answer for yourself.
Am I in trial, Your Honor?
Yes, and I would ready yourself to form a defense, because your testimony could augur your doom. The trial begins now. I recommend that you treat these moments with deserving gravity, as they might be your last. Don't attempt to lie or evade answers. I will judge you in the objective eyes of our Overlord. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
At least your civility remains intact. You are on trial for transgressing on the Overlord's authority, breaking the laws of the Empire, bringing mayhem to an otherwise orderly conquest, and meddling in concerns that fell beyond your station. Our directive to bring Kairos' peace to the tiers has suffered, and you will answer for the part you played.
If you don't mind, Adjudicator, we are on familiar terms with the Fatebinder here. Should any inconsistencies require input, we will add our voices as testimony.
The court has inquiries into your conduct. I first call your travel companions to speak on your behalf as witnesses to your character or accomplices to your crimes. Who will speak on behalf of the Fatebinder? The ironclad commander will step forward, if indeed he has the strength to walk.
So he's in a numb stupor.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Stupor, sorry.
Scarlet Fury, you who sacrificed your old life for this one, step forward.
Me? As if the likes of me has any business speaking in a grand hall before the Archon. Why, I've murdered enough folk to stack their bodies up to the podium 10 times over. Your Honor, the Fatebinder and I get along like a couple of cats. We scratch here and there, but there's respect to be had. Sometimes I think we agree on too much, but can't fight everyone. I suppose I've had worse bosses, and I suppose I've had better friends. But this one's something special. I've killed for her, and I'd do it again.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Let the aged chronicler step forward.
If it may please the court, I will speak true. I have had the honor and privilege of shadowing the Archon. A dream come true for someone so eager to witness history in the unfolding. I can say, with conviction, I am following greatness.
And if required, I could produce my travelogue to back my claims. I have noted the good with the bad, and I think you'll find the Archon has been a force of order and balance. Exactly what you should want from a Fatebinder.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Evidently not. The time has come for the Fatebinder to offer her testimony. You entered the Old Walls, a clear violation of Kairos' law. How do you answer for this pervasion of justice? Do you think yourself above the law? Circumstances took me there, Your Honor, not greed. Are circumstances the best defense you can muster? Because no one in the court has allowed circumstances to lead us to unlawful conduct.
I have one final question, Fatebinder. You were brought to this campaign to adjudicate the disagreements between the two armies. After your arrival, matters quickly escalated into a civil war. Did you knowingly join the conquest of the Tears to sow discord in your wake? Or were you merely a victim of circumstance?
I recognized the Archon's corruption from the start. It's only a matter of time before they turned on each other, and I was prepared for that eventuality.
If you anticipated a failure on this scale, you should have informed me, or else worked to avoid it rather than pit combatants against each other. I am finished with my line of questioning. Have you any closing remarks for the court?
Though I have ever strived to bring peace and order to the shattered region, I recognize that our work is an uphill battle and well worth the struggle.
The way you frame it, the conquest sounds like a matter of true personal investment. Most curious. After weighing the charges, this court finds you innocent. Against all reason or expectation, I find you innocent. Your testimony was sufficient to justify your deeds, your self-appointed authority, and your undermining of Kairos' law. I can hardly believe it myself.
Alright, so you get that with more favor. The more favor you have with people, obviously the more likely that they're gonna agree with you. So having 3 favor with Tunin has him claim you being innocent. Adjudicator, are you unwell? Leave him. I want to see how this plays out.
Archon, your presentation in the court today has shaken many of my core beliefs. Things I held sacred under Kairos' law are now uncertain. I once thought that Kairos was the sole overlord. The notion of rising to her echelon of power and influence wasn't a concept that existed for me, for anyone. You have proven her wrong. What's more, you understand justice and law better than she ever did. Better than even I am willing to accept you as my new sovereign, if you'll have me.
I accept. Together we will rewrite law and lay the groundwork for a new empire.
My gavel and my justice are yours. I will execute your laws as you draft them, show mercy as you see fit, and bring to ruin all who would reject you.
Alright, so Blenmark arrived.
Adjudicator, kid, allow this blade to cut to the point. I have an objection, or two.
Buddy, old pal of mine, what's the problem? Favor 3, that might do it.
Don't distract me while I'm on the job, kid. Look, it's not like I have a grudge against you. I just can't let you live on Kairos' orders. I'm sure you understand.
Kairos' mandate doesn't require either of us to die. We only need to bow to one another. Tunin is willing to swear to me. Why won't you?
I would not so readily hand my leash to another. God, really? Did you think I would allow myself to be used by someone like you? That you could send me to strike at the Overlord? No. I would feel your blood pool beneath my feet first.
It would appear the court headsman is determined to make his stand. Under normal circumstances, I would curb this behavior with a swift execution. However, we have long since abandoned normalcy. There will be a trial by combat then. Blenmark's claim against your own. Justice will win out, and the will of the true Overlord will be evident for the living to witness. You may begin when ready, Archon.
I guess I have no choice then.
Your trial begins anew, Archon. Prepare to defend your title, your innocence, and your very life.
Alright guys, this is gonna be a really hard fight. I had to do this last time as well. Trust me, it's rough. It's a rough fight. We're gonna quick save. So, we're gonna try that. Barrick, you try to get up here. Alright guys, so here's what I think is gonna happen. Is the next episode, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fight him there. Right now, Blenmark, killing him is gonna be too difficult for me at this moment. Blenmark's doing his, he's doing a lot of bullshit. He's doing a lot of, you know, sort of killing me. It's getting a little bit aggravating. Alright, hey guys. So, for me, at this point, it's, going? Black Mom 44. It's gonna be a little bit difficult. So, we're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna cut here. And next episode, we're gonna be coming back. I'm gonna be going ahead and, hopefully killing him, like, first try. But, don't worry. So, this isn't the end, but this is Act 3. This is very much near the end. We already killed, Graven Ash. We have, not Voices of Narad, but we have, Tunin with us. Voices of Narad, he pretty much is guaranteed to join us, because Scarcord's, all for us. And, of course, down here, we have, our fucking old buddy Blenmark. So, until next time, this is Black Mamba 44. I want everyone to have a good day, and I'm out.